to the CE Pro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. Training has always been one of the most valuable resources out there for integrators, and many vendors and dealers lean on their local manufacturers' reps for this. In the case of outdoor lighting and audio specialist Coastal Source, training has become a great entree into the outdoor lighting category in particular. In this week's episode, integrator Michael Wilson of Bethesda Systems and Rep Tim Painter of NuTech Group share their experiences in how attending and executing Coastal Source training events have helped spur their businesses. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review. Tim Painter, VP of Sales and a Coastal Source rep for NuTech Group, and Michael Wilson, co-owner of Bethesda Systems. Thanks, guys, for joining the CE Pro podcast this week.
Thanks for having us.
So let's just start by sharing a little bit of information about your respective companies. We want to talk a lot about outdoor lighting and audio through Coastal Source. Tim, let's start with you. In terms of NuTech Group, where do you guys operate and what's your portfolio like as manufacturer's rep?
So NuTech Group is based in the Middle Atlantic. We have an office in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. We cover basically Eastern PA, Southern Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. I am based out of a Virginia office. We also have an experience center in Virginia as well. And our lineup is basically, we try to be a full source for our dealers as far as a one-stop shop. We like to have a broad portfolio that tries to encompass all of the segments that they're going to do on a daily basis in the CI world, and Coastal Source outdoor audio and lighting being one of the hotter categories, and lighting especially one of the newer segments of our world.
Sure, absolutely. And also Coastal Source being based right there in the Middle Atlantic, kind of near you guys in Morristown, New Jersey, I imagine helps a lot. And with being among several major metro areas, it sounds like you guys are hitting a lot of demographic that is going to be looking for these types of solutions.
It's always nice to have a manufacturer close by. Shipping for the dealers is a big advantage, and then we tend to be able to borrow knowledge a little easier when the guys are closer.
Sure. And Michael, how about Bethesda Systems? I know from CE Pro and our old sister publication, Electronic House, I know we've heard a lot about you guys over the years, but tell everyone in terms of what your specialties are and your target clientele.
Sure. Bethesda Systems started in 2003 with my current partner and myself. Over time, we've picked up another partner. And what we started was working out of a house like a small one-man shop to a company that has almost 30 employees, multiple trucks, selling multiple technologies for clients. Our clientele is of the more higher end. However, I think anyone that has the ability to choose to spend their disposable income on technology, we're more than happy to help them.
Great. And Bethesda is DC metro suburban area?
Yeah, we're located in Bethesda, Maryland. We service Maryland, DC, and Virginia.
Okay. So definitely a lot of that kind of affluent suburban clientele right there for you, I imagine. And you guys work right there in the cities, in the metro market as well, doing MDUs and things like that, or mostly
Yes.
Home builders?
No, we work primarily, wherever. We don't do a lot of lighting, outdoor lighting and outdoor audio in the MDUs, but we do a lot of work in MDU properties as well.
Great. Okay. I was going to say, I know from judging from some of the MDUs I see, I know that sort of public areas, even outdoor recreation areas, outdoor lounge areas are becoming a big thing. So who knows? So Tim, we wanted to talk a lot about the trainings for Coastal Source that you've held as a rep, how it's brought integrators into the category like Bethesda Systems. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about those that you guys have held, how those work, and what integrators can expect to experience from Coastal Source training sessions.
Sure. And so the trainings with Coastal have kind of evolved throughout the years. And I think, Mike can probably speak to this, later as well. But, we started off trainings pretty similar to most any other training that guys in our industry are used to. Hotel room, we get a nice conference room. Everybody comes in. We've got PowerPoint. We've got product in hand where we can put hands on some of the product. And those trainings were good. Coastal Source is definitely an engaging product. It's for a lot of the dealers that attend. It is their first time really contemplating doing outdoor lighting. Not their first time in doing outdoor audio, but definitely the first time in lighting for many of these guys. So what we found is we would get interest, we would get guys, looking at the product, but it still wasn't totally there because it was such a new concept, especially with the lighting. So what we've tried to do, and the most recent training that we did, we actually tried to incorporate the real world into our training. And what I mean by that is a house with a full yard and mature landscape, pathways. We lit the house. We set up multiple fixtures in the same location, so we could show the dealers how one reacted versus the other, how one could be a subtle accent light, how the other could be task lighting, and so it was really good because we had a high attendance of guys that stuck around for the nighttime sessions. Matter of fact, I was wiped. I was ready to call it a day, and everybody was still hanging out. So that's kind of how the trainings have morphed throughout the time, and that was really done with the help of the dealers that were having success with lighting.
Tim,
were the guys
how did you come up with that venue, if you don't mind my asking, or if you're able to talk about whose house it was and how you set it up? And talking about going into the nighttime, I imagine that would be the right time, as they would say, to experience lighting, and have kind of maybe a party atmosphere out there.
Well, it absolutely was. It was very laid back. It was very relaxed. We did have food, drink. We had an outdoor fire pit, so everyone was having fun as well as learning. And I think that's a big important part of it as well. Is it's an enjoyable time for guys, especially now as busy as they are. So it's also an escape as well as a training. It was pretty unique. Coastal had success with doing trainings at some breweries because the venues were nice. Again, it was laid back and a good spot. So just so happens close to me, I have a brewery that also has a house next door. It used to be the owner's house that they now rent out as an Airbnb. So we actually rented space at the brewery and rented the entire house for several days, and we pulled off the training by doing it both ways and integrated between the two.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty awesome setup. Michael, in terms of getting to these trainings, when did you start going to the NuTech Group's trainings when it comes to lighting and audio for Coastal Source? And how many have you guys been to? How did that help get you into these categories, especially the lighting part of it?
So I think one of the important things about our industry that often sometimes doesn't get, enough play is the value of this dealer rep, for lack of a better term, what NuTech does in our industry. I think it's very easy for most vendors, like a Coastal Source, to be very biased and fixed because they think their product's the best. They only know their product. So it also sometimes feels more force-fed. Whereas when you build a relationship with a rep, like a relationship like with someone like Tim, you start to know and build up a level of trust. And when they recommend something new, it's looked at a little differently than being forced down from the dealer itself. The other thing is it's really nice to have a layer between us and the manufacturer to provide this level of communication that really is so vital when working with some of these parts, because sometimes you feel like this small fish in this big pond where the rep has more of their ears, so there's more lines of communication. With that being said, Tim approached me 3 years ago, I think it was.
Maybe a little more.
Okay, maybe a little more.
We got to count the pandemic year, right? We're never
okay.
sure
Well, we don't count the pandemic year.
We always lose
was there a
track of that
year.
one.
So he recommended, he said, look, there's a unique opportunity out there working with this brand. And I think from a standpoint of our industry, I think it's really important to realize, quite candidly, I'll share with you, Tim and I were actually talking about this today ourselves, is there is some level of a death to the automation part of our business, or to where we made our roots and made our livings. I think is starting to morph into different types of things. And I think one of those things is outdoor audio and outdoor lighting, which is really where this really intrigued me. But the key to like anything that's out there is if you don't see it, you don't use it, you really can't, taste it. So NuTech had organized with Coastal Source. They actually had a training up north, a training down south, and then the training that Tim did. The one up north was done in upstate New York. Again, done at a property where there was outdoor lighting at night. The key to the outdoor lighting thing really has to be to see it and touch it. I've come to learn as I've worked with clients is I've never met any lighting designer that knows what looks good just off the top of their head without actually touching a fixture and moving a fixture, and how that works and how that gets designed. So it was really interesting to do this up north. It was absolutely freezing. But it was pretty valuable. And then they did one actually in Key West, where their other location is, where it had a similar feel, but again, more to see how the product was made. And again, focusing in on that nighttime component of going to one of the owner's homes to see how the lights work in different areas. And I think what Tim did, which was really smart, was he took that concept and kind of made it localized for our area. Because I think the value of actually seeing the stuff is so much better than sitting, like he said earlier, in a classroom or in a boardroom and just, hey, here's a light, or hey, here's this. It's not like a TV or a pair of speakers where you just turn them on and say, hey, they sound good. So immediately when Tim recommended that he was going to do this, when Tim told me he was going to do this, I said, unbelievable opportunity. I have a newer salesman on my team. I really got a lot of value of it. Tim, I'd love to send this guy down. And he goes, Michael, you can have it. Great. I actually sent 2 guys down. And I think the feedback from both of them was spectacular. To the fact that basically one of the ones, the newer of the 2, has actually sold 2 $20,000 to $30,000 systems since he's been back, and literally knew absolutely nothing about outdoor lighting and audio.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask you about, in terms of, some of the ROI that you're already experiencing from going to some of these trainings, and, the proof is in the pudding right there. In terms of when they got back and how that knowledge was transferred to the rest of the team, and how did that happen in terms of, taking some of those key takeaways and integrating them into your own system designs, or any relationships that you have with trade partners, like you said, lighting designers, maybe things like that. How did that come about, post trainings, and since then with any others that you guys have attended?
One of the coolest things is it actually introduced us to a different category of referral. So Tim was vital in introducing me to landscape type of builders. These guys are the ones that do the pools and the pergolas and the outdoor bars and the fire pits. So again, a lot of my business now has come from companies like McHale Landscaping, Lewis Aquatech. These are companies that we're doing a lot of referral and return business on, just by the fact that we were introduced to a new area. And the referral not only works in that area, it now leads into the house and leads into the bread and butter of the lighting control inside the house, or the automation, or the home theaters, etc.
So it's really kind of one thing, just feeding the next, and just helping the entire solutions package for you guys grow, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I really think what's really so important about this concept is, I know we're focused on Coastal, which is a spectacular company, and I've had a lot of success with, and I love working with them. And we're talking, but if we're really talking about the grassroots of the understanding of the level of the rep and the level of training, what is so valuable to me is that if you take advantage of what all the rep firms have to offer throughout the country, not just the new techs, if you will, everywhere, and really believe in the fact that they can provide you new knowledge. Um, I think there's a term people use like old crusties, right? And there are people out there that think the only way to make money is to have two channels with two big tower speakers, and that's the way it works. But I think our whole world is about adapt or die. And I think that is what's so valuable in our little industry, that the rep can provide to dealers like myself: the ability to find new things, the ability to adapt, and then the ability for them to have the resources to not only train us on it, but then to support us on it. I think not only is it that they show you the product, they train you on the product, but the fact that they can support you on the product is another, it's just a full turnkey way for you to really have some other area of your business to be successful. And, I'm not unhappy to say, I think our first year in sales were, barely 10,000, and now we're well into the hundreds of thousands. So it's been nothing but an amazing experience.
That's phenomenal to hear. And that is a fantastic message about, just optimizing your relationships with the local reps. I mean, it's something that I've heard over my years talking with everyone here at CE Pro. And like you say, a lot of them I think are used to doing kind of the traditional, the audio design, maybe the home theater design, but a category like this that is just absolutely growing like bonkers right now from what we're hearing at CE Pro. It's, just a huge support system. Michael, just to follow up on the technology itself, anything that surprised you in terms of what you are continually learning about it and how you're applying it in projects?
I mean, I think this particular product, the easiest thing is probably what they call their connector system. The concept of how these lights go together with this male and female type connector with this twist lock really allows you to have the ability to move lights around, expand the system, add to the system, whereas the traditional outdoor lighting is more of a spooge and wire nuts and tying it together, and the corrosion that gets into it. So I think in some ways, maybe one of the best things that Coastal has come out with is not so much their product as much as their way to actually get that product to work in the field, both easily to install and reliably to work over a longer period of time.
Tim, I want to bring it and circle back around to you to wrap things up. Are you hearing some of the same common feedback that we've heard from Michael today, and some of the benefits about, it sounds like really the versatility, flexibility of the installation with the product, and kind of ease of the learning curve, perhaps?
Yes, the guys that are successful are absolutely reiterating those comments. The Coastal connector that Mike mentioned is really, it sounds strange when you're talking about a company that has such phenomenal high performance products, both in audio and lighting, to say that their connector is the lead, but it really is. Not most, but a lot of the ways that we gain business in the outdoor lighting world is because clients love outdoor lighting, but their outdoor lighting system doesn't work, or parts of it don't work. So the connector really is the way in. It makes clients happy when they don't have problems with their systems, and that also translates into the audio as well, because the audio and the lighting uses the same connection. It is truly IP rated. So that is something that, a lot of people can stick weatherproof or waterproof on products, but don't carry that IP designation to prove that they really are. All of those things are so vital in putting this together, and the dealers that have embraced Coastal Source probably first embraced them because the speakers sound so phenomenal. That's the first thing that we do, is make sure that they hear the speakers, and then we've got them hooked. And then after that, it comes into the fact that they can deal with a high quality company, a high quality product. They can install and be profitable Profitability is a big part of this on all angles as far as the product and the installation. But most importantly, trouble-free. I mean, it's about as trouble-free as it comes for a product in our category. And I think that is one of the most important factors.
Great. Well, Tim Painter of Coastal Source, being a Coastal Source rep for NuTech Group, and Michael Wilson, a Coastal Source dealer from Bethesda Systems, integrator out of the DC area from Bethesda, Maryland. Thank you guys both so much for a lot of food for thought on the episode today. Like I said, the outdoor lighting, outdoor audio in general, just booming right now, and to have these kind of testimonials about what training can do and what the new category can do is really beneficial for our audience here. So thank you guys both for joining the CE Pro podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.